Ladies and gentlemen, I have some really powerful segments on H.A. Goodman's other channel. Check that out. And also, if you love sports like I do, as you can see, subscribe to H.A. Goodman's sports channel. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a sober, thoughtful segment. The Inspector General, William Barr is going to, Andrew McCabe is going to get charged with, because of the criminal acts that he's committed. Democrats were bragging and boasting about the 30-plus indictments on process crimes that had absolutely nothing to do with their collusion narrative. Andrew McCabe specifically lied under oath, primarily to deceive, with the intent to deceive, because his wife received hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, $700,000, actually, by one estimate, over $700,000, from Democrats' Clinton allies, Terry McAuliffe. Because he did that for self-serving purposes, he leaked information to the Wall Street Journal about a Clinton Foundation probe. When confronted about it, because he should have recused himself, he did not. He then leaked the information to pretend to be fair and neutral like W. Wasserman Schultz, claiming that Comey told him he could do it. Comey says, "I didn't tell you anything." When confronted, he lied 3 times under oath with the intent to deceive. Because he was conflicted, because there was a conflict of interest that he tried to sweep under the rug. That's the issue. All related. All related to, I hope you enjoy my new, I hate to put the "I'm with her" in between Kirby Puckett and Marilyn Monroe, but there was some space there. So, and I love both Kirby Puckett and Marilyn Monroe. Kind of hurt for me to put it there, but you know what? Clinton is running again. I don't care about, they say, well, it's coming up in like a month or 2 months, the date to file for, no, there is no filing date. That doesn't exist with Clinton. There's always a bylaw. There's always some kind of, hey, you know what? We're fair and neutral. Oops, Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign. Everything's fine. It was the Russians. Don't worry about that. Clinton's run by their own rules. But here, Andrew McCabe, why it's unlikely the McCabe grand jury voted against indictment. This is Andrew McCarthy. The National Review, why it's unlikely the McCabe grand jury voted against indictment. Now, the really, really interesting article talking about how, yeah, he's going to get indicted. And like I said yesterday, and I'm not a career attorney at the Justice Department like Andrew McCarthy was, the National Review. But I said yesterday this is a public relations stunt. They didn't have to, within a day of denying McCabe's lawyers, denying their request to appeal and toss the case aside. So the other day, literally just 2-3 days ago, the Justice Department said, no, we're going to go ahead with this. There is enough evidence. And we're not going to stop until he's indicted. Okay. Here's the article in the National Review. That, however, is no reason to conclude that an indictment was sought, much less that the grand jury declined to vote one. Let me begin with the basics. No competent federal prosecutor should ever get a no true bill from a grand jury. In nearly 20 years as a prosecutor, it not only never happened to me, I could count on one hand the number of times. Okay, so it's very rare, but there's a plethora of evidence here, but let's continue. To be sure, grand jury proceedings are very one-sided. Still, there are many cases that grand juries do not like and would not charge. Nevertheless, these cases do not result in no true bills. Instead, there is steady dialogue between the prosecutors and the grand jurors over each case. The latter ask questions and, when they are troubled, convey the facts to the former. Bear in mind, moreover, that a grand jury, unlike a trial jury, is not being asked to find proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's what a lot of people got wrong. Its modest task is to determine whether a significantly lower proof hurdle, probable cause, has been met. Also, unlike a trial jury, the grand jury need not be unanimous. Federal grand juries have up to 23 members, and only 12 need assent for an indictment to be approved. And the United States government can get a new grand jury if they get new information, and they're always getting new information on McCabe, especially with the IG report coming out. The grand jurors know they're not being asked to convict anyone, just to determine that there is enough evidence to warrant having a trial. And double jeopardy principles are not in play in grand juries as they are at a trial. Assuming that the false statements capably outlined in the Horowitz report are the only potential crimes under consideration, it's hard to believe any grand jury. Okay, so that any grand jury could find insufficient probable cause. Even McCabe is not claiming that what he told investigators was true. He seems to be saying he didn't mean to lie multiple times. So even Andrew McCabe, and this is the most important part of this, and Andrew McCarthy is fantastic, he's actually not saying that he didn't state information that was inaccurate. He's saying, yes, I stated information that was inaccurate. However, I did not mean to deceive. This is the same person who took pleasure and glee and enjoyment from setting up Michael Flynn. And now the tables have turned and he doesn't like how it feels. The tables have turned, ladies and gentlemen. He just doesn't like. He doesn't like how it feels. And so, let's continue. Of course, we do not know that the false statements are the only matters under consideration, or even that McCabe is the only subject of the grand jury investigation. It is entirely possible that the grand jury has not yet been asked to indict because relevant conduct is still under consideration. Conduct related to McCabe, related to other suspects, or both. Theoretically, Comey could be a part of this also. Strzok could be a part of it. The insurance policy. This could be a lot bigger than we think. To assume because Andrew McCabe's lawyers and attorneys engaged in a public relations stunt, to assume, ladies and gentlemen, that they were just that they are giving an accurate assessment of what's taking place, that would not be wise. Besides the ongoing grand jury investigation of McCabe's alleged false statements, the former deputy director is also among the current and former officials who are subjects of another IG probe of violations, abuses of power in the Russia investigation. On Friday evening, IG Horowitz wrote a letter to leaders of the Senate and the House Judiciary Committee, explaining that his report is substantially complete and is undergoing a classification review. So William Barr has the report, ladies and gentlemen. We can safely assume, then, the release of the report, which will be imminent. Everyone's using the phrase imminent. See, I started a trend. Meanwhile, Connecticut U.S. Attorney John Durham has an ongoing investigation into the origins of the Russia investigation. There have been reports that Durham is using a grand jury to gather evidence and testimony. Why are these other investigations germane to what is happening with the Washington grand jury? Well, sometimes when a suspect is under scrutiny in multiple investigations, the Justice Department will ask the court to seal any indictment returned by the grand jury. Could have been a sealed indictment. Remember you heard that nonsense from that idiotic message board that thankfully nobody believes in anymore? 50, 60 billion, thousand billion, trillion sealed indictments. It's like, oh my God. That way there can be no credible claim that the grand jurors in one case were swayed by allegations filed by another case. So there could be very likely other grand jury In this case, actual sealed indictments, not 20 trillion, but ones relevant to Durham and relevant to William Barr and relevant to the crimes that they've all committed. I think, and I've written in the Federalist, the 18 U.S. Code 371 statute. And I wrote about that. That's in the description of each YouTube segment and in the pinned comment. So I think it's important that that statute is a statute that talks about defrauding the United States government. If you defraud the United States government, the people of the United States, by utilizing agencies against their stated purpose for any goal, a corrupt political objective, anything, which is what they did. The United States intelligence community. What a community it is. You see, like, John Brennan walking his dog, and, Clapper's watering the lawn. Hey, everybody. Comey's pulling up to his driveway. Hey, it's so good to see everybody. I love this community. What a great neighborhood. No, it's not a community. It's 3 or 4, probably 10 to 12 very corrupt officials, including, probably more than that, but including Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, Brennan, Comey, and a whole bunch of other people behind that. It's probably a lot more than 12. But because we had a whole bunch of names, Sally Moyer and Kevin Kleinsmith and all these FBI officials that are in deep water with the Office of Professional Responsibility at the FBI, which is that's in numerous public record reports and reputable sources. But anyway, okay, so it is certainly possible that So he goes on to talk about, there's to say there could be a dozen or more explanations for why there's been no public announcement of a McCabe indictment. I was saying could be any day, could be any week. They're dragging their feet, and they're trying every possible way because he's a very powerful man. This was basically the head of the FBI. So he's a very, very powerful man. He's not like the average American. He's a very powerful man, and he's not. It ain't going to go down easy. But the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Don't think for a moment, ladies and gentlemen, don't think for a moment that he won't get indicted. Because that will be an existential issue that will actually hurt Democrats also. Well, they don't care about that. They're in their own world. There's a reason also that every single topic links to Clinton. McCabe's wife took money from Clinton allies. Steele dossier, purchased by Clinton. Alexander Downer, linked to the Clinton Foundation. CrowdStrike, outsourced by Democratic Party. Pretty much everything. James Comey not only wrote the Comey letter because the criminal cover-up was so sloppy. There was so much classified intelligence swirling around outside of the U.S. government under President Obama's administration. They just couldn't, they're like, oh my God, what do we do now? Then they flipped the script and they got their very, they got the machine and be like, oh my God, he worked with Russia. Now you have Democrats, this is hilarious. They think they're like these Cold Warrior intelligence officials. No, she had top secret servers outside of the United States government that Michael Hayden, former NSA chief, said he would lose respect. He would lose respect for intelligence agencies around the world if they didn't already hack her servers. All of this, ladies and gentlemen, when people say, "Oh, well, Warren's going to be nominee," they don't. Warren's policies are not even feasible. The McCabe study, you can talk. They're not feasible. There isn't even Medicare for all in Vermont. There isn't a state functioning with Medicare for all. When Andrew Gillum was asked in Florida, he's like, "Well, surrounding states have to do it also." It doesn't even work at the state level. California voted against it when it was in the state legislature. Now, I'm not saying it's not a noble endeavor. Sure it is. But, not everything is... The people on the left are like, well, you just... so many people are suffering. Yeah, but people are suffering with government-run healthcare also. It's like this panacea, all of this is cure for everything. Government. It'll fix everything. It's like, no, not always. Sometimes you need government intervention. Sometimes you need the government to help. Most of the time, it's not this, instant answer solution to everything. And Democrats, they derive their authority, their influence from state power, but only parts of the government that they like. So they pick and choose even with that. When it was the intelligence community, they said, well, it was a security review. And it's a lot of problems, Clinton, her emails outside of the servers, it wasn't just her emails, it was her servers outside of the U.S. government, where even President Obama on television told the biggest lie of his administration, I found out when everyone else did. How do you find nobody told you? Your own Secretary of State, you didn't know? For 4 years? Really? And then they say, Trump, he's always lying. It's like, no, you have no problem. Democrats have no problem championing the biggest liars ever. It's just that when they don't have a value system. It's not like, Democrats are not like, we're against lying. We're against cheating. We're against militancy. No, if it's them, everything goes. They have no value system when it's them. When it's Republicans, oh my God, you did this, you did that, you did this, you did that. But ladies and gentlemen, McCabe is going to get indicted. First of all, look, why would you indict McCabe when the Inspector General report isn't even out yet? I mean, think about that for a second. So, and that whole thing, what they did was just simply a public relations stunt with the attorneys. That's it. It was simply just a public relations stunt. They said, well, we haven't been indicted yet. I guess everything's collapsing. Then when he gets indicted, oh my God, there's evidence to show that President Trump went above and beyond. And then they're like, well, Trump, it's because of Trump. It's his tweets. But then with corrupt journalists who literally take their marching orders from corrupt FBI officials, they never say, oh, well, it was the press that just pumped up and created this hysteria that swept in Michael Flynn and George Papadopoulos and 30 other people. Then it's okay. And then they fall back on obstruction. Well, Trump didn't let Mueller do his job. It's like, are you kidding me? Mueller, that was an example of a setup, a fabricated probe that couldn't find anything because there was nothing. With Trump, they created something. Everything has to be morally relative. It's all for Hillary 2020, right here. Hillary 2020. Embrace it. Love it. It's fantastic. Why not? Embrace and love it, people. Because we have to get this chapter out of our system as a country. Clinton is going to run again, whether it's a day before Iowa, whether she skips Iowa, whether it's because she can actually do that and then enter the race after. It doesn't matter. I think that she's definitely going to... I don't see her skipping Iowa, but she could. I think that you probably want to dispel the myth that you've cheated yet again. So, whether it's after the 4th debate, before the 4th debate, February 3rd or 2nd, a day or two before Iowa, next week, tomorrow, next month, she has October, November, December, January, February, okay? You're looking at a good, October, November, December, January. That's 4 months. That's 4 months of me annoying everyone on the planet. And the only person saying it's going to happen. And not only will I be proven right, but we will see, like I keep saying, we will see why all of this happened. This was not Elizabeth Warren's doing. You're talking about a person, Elizabeth Warren, okay, forget about the Democratic Party being an extension of Bill and Hillary. That's not even the way Democrats work if it's not Bill and Hillary. You have to be there for like decades to even get a chance at the title. Okay, Warren's been senator for 6-7 years? Not even that. Yes, about 5-6 years. So it's like, that's not even the way it would work. Biden, theoretically, yeah, it would work. But then with that, it's like, the alien pops out. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, with a top hat and everything. You don't want that on CNN. Then before Clinton runs, they'd be like, you know what? It was a great parlor trick. I mean, yeah, the stage was nasty and everything, and people were horrified. But he's fine. He's recovering fine. He'll be great. He'll defeat Trump. He already defeats Trump. Even with the alien popping out by 10 points. So everything's fine. There is already Rolling Stone articles. You will see the articles come out. We need Hillary. We need Hillary. And my message to the media is get to it, people. My message, and of course, the I'm with her crowd journalists don't watch me, and the imbeciles at the campaign that Clinton is running now for 2020 don't watch me. But if they do, get to it. You don't want to wait until there's utter despair. You want to jump in right now while it's still kind of like, well, I think Warren's going to take it. And she jumps in. It's you can have a mini pretend fight, pretend argument. Like, I just think, oh, you know what? Okay, you know what? Let's just hug it out. And you're right. Everybody vote for Hillary. Give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. Watch my victory episode. And ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic day. Check this channel. I will be doing live streams next week. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you. If you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below. Thank you.